Bloomberg Audio Studios. Podcasts, radio, news.
The Stock Movers Report, your roundup of companies making moves in the stock market, harnessing the power of Bloomberg data.
Let's get to it in terms of some stocks on the move today. Avalon Purnell is Bloomberg News equities reporter. She's back there at Bloomberg headquarters on Lexington Avenue. So, Avalon, where shall we begin? We did get some news after the closing bell as well.
We sure did. We can probably start off with CrowdStrike, which I will say was a lot more interesting a couple moments ago, but now it is roughly unchanged, only ticking up about 0.31%. And that's ticker CRWD. That's after the software company reported fourth quarter results that were roughly in line with the street's expectations. Its forecast for the first quarter and also the full year were also in line with expectations. It is important to note that CrowdStrike has been pretty volatile this year as investors continue to debate the potential disruption from AI, which, as we remember from last week, was very much the conversation after NVIDIA reported earnings as well.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? We've seen so many of these names under some pressure, but as you said, we did see it a little bit lower initially when it came to its earnings, but not off its worst levels of the session. All right, from CrowdStrike, we go to, I'm just pulling up my notes here. Where shall we go? We're going to go to Ross Stores.
Yes, it's been a very big day in consumer. Ross Stores, that's ticker ROST, rising about 6.5% post-market. That's after the off-price retailer reported better than expected earnings per share for the fourth quarter, and also the midpoint of its same-store sales growth also topped analyst estimates. So definitely a good time to be that retailer. Consumer continues to be hit as shoppers spend less in stores, and tariff concerns kind of highlight those affordability problems that a lot of Americans are facing, but Ross Stores continues to be a beneficiary.
Yeah, interesting to see, though, that pop, right? 6% higher in the aftermarket. And we know when it comes to retail, you don't always get kind of the same response depending on who the consumer is and in terms of their fundamentals. But again, it's another read on the consumer as those retailers continue to come out. And again, as you said, that operating margin, pretty impressive for that name. Let's go on to Target. We have another retailer that we got results from.
Yes, Target, ticker TGT, jumped about 6.7% into the close. That's its biggest leap since April, after surprising investors with an upbeat forecast on improving demand, which may mean a turnaround is actually working so far. The results also, Target said that it plans to hire more staffers and also boost their pay. One analyst said that it was actually kind of surprising that they're predicting a beat later on and forecasting better, despite the fact that they're also planning to increase their money that they're also spending towards their staff. And TD Cowen analyst said something that I found to be kind of interesting, that the retailer continues to leverage its talent for finding unique merchandise. And I think that will potentially continue. We'll see.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Target is one of those retailers that has gone through a bunch of cycles. They've been doing quite an overhaul, trying to figure out their way forward. But it's quite an interesting investment, $2 billion, and a strategic plan. And maybe this is what gets investors a little bit more interested. Best Buy, another retailer. So we continue to hear from the retail space.
Yes, Best Buy, that's ticker BBY, also reported earnings today. It closed up about 7% for its biggest leap since October. And that's mostly on account of the fact that the retailer had fourth quarter earnings that topped estimates, partially because holiday shopping was much better than expected. It even lifted its quarterly dividend by about 1%. Investors were particularly happy that management said that it wasn't necessarily predicting that customers were trying to pull forward, or other words, meaning that consumers were not necessarily accelerating buying in anticipation of like price increases. So I also found that to be quite interesting within the Best Buy space.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Hey, listen, Avalon, thank you so much. Avalon Purnell, Bloomberg News equities reporter, back at Bloomberg headquarters with some of the stocks on the move here. Be sure to check out our Stock Movers podcast, 5-minute episodes of the biggest winners and losers in the stock market. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, or anywhere you get your podcasts.
The Stock Movers Report from Bloomberg Radio. Check back with us throughout the day for the latest roundup of companies making news on Wall Street. And for the latest market-moving headlines, listen to Bloomberg Radio live Catch us on YouTube, Bloomberg.com, and on Apple CarPlay and Android Auto with the Bloomberg Business app.